such a tough task in life.
A tough task for some tough kids who fight on with one smile at a time. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
The Sunshine Kids go on about 9 trips to different cities every year. October is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and according to the National Breast Cancer Foundation, breast cancer is the second leading cause of death among women. Rasha Goel has more on what is happening locally to help spread awareness of the disease.
Breast cancer survivor Cynthia Lozano Vantal is all too familiar with the physical and emotional battles that come with the disease. She was diagnosed 13 years ago and chose to undergo a mastectomy.
Unfortunately, through my cancer journey, it's not that easy. Early cancer, even though you have early cancer, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you still have to go through the whole journey.
She's not alone. The city's own council member, Herb Wesson, lost his mother to cancer after she battled the disease 5 times.
And I submit to you that everyone who has ever lived has had this disease touch their lives one way or another.
October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Many events will be held throughout the nation, including here in Los Angeles. To help show their support, the United Firefighters of LA City recently contributed $10,000 to the American Cancer Society. The hope of the United Firefighters of Los Angeles City is that awareness of the disease will help save lives.
The International Association of Firefighters and their affiliates engage in these local fundraising and awareness campaigns nationwide so that no breast cancer patient will go without life-saving treatments and so that there is hope for a cure.
According to statistics, 1 out of 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. Cynthia Vantal is currently heading up a fundraising walk at LA Live in October with the American Cancer Society.
We're hoping and praying that we have 10,000 people there walking the streets of LA, and I'm so proud to be able to have this opportunity.
Walking the walk and talking the talk in hopes of spreading the message of breast cancer awareness and treatment. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The walk, Making Strides Against Breast Cancer of Los Angeles, will be held on October 18th in the Nokia Plaza at LA Live. More information can be found at makingstrideswalk.org. If you're a parent, then you probably know how difficult it can be to install a child car seat, but it doesn't have to be. Yana Kay reports.
Zachary Renew didn't even bother trying to install his 21-month-old daughter's new car seat. Instead, he left it up to the experts.
I'm one of the people that can't do it right, so I'd much better prefer the professionals handle it.
And just like Zachary, many parents find that installing a child's safety seat can be quite a challenge. And even when you are able to finally install it, it may not be done correctly. That's why the Los Angeles Police Department and the Housing and Community Investment Department have partnered to show parents the right way to install a car seat.
They're really nice, they're really knowledgeable, really friendly, and will help you until it's done correctly.
It's the law for children under 8 years old and who weigh less than 80 pounds be secured in a proper child seat. But officials say more than 70% of car seats are not properly installed.
You can buy the most expensive car seat, but if it's not installed properly, it doesn't do any good.
Officials say parents should not only make sure the car seat is installed the right way, but that the seat is appropriate for their child. Shopping for a car seat can be overwhelming for many parents, but you do want to make sure you get the right one. So to do that, read the label. Each car seat has a label with information on it. For example, this is a forward-facing car seat, and it tells you that this particular seat holds between 20 and 50 pounds, and the height of the child should be 127 centimeters tall or less. Another important thing to note is that car seats have expiration dates, which are clearly marked on the label.
The reason for it is because the weather, hot, cold, etc., affects the seat. It weakens it. Or if the car seat is involved in a traffic collision, it must be replaced.
Officials also recommend keeping your child in a rear-facing seat, at least until the age of 2 or longer. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
If you'd like to make an appointment to install your car seat, you can call 818-644-8143. The Los Angeles Police Department and the Drug Enforcement Agency recently teamed up with local medical centers to take back potentially dangerous, unused, or expired drugs. The drug take-back event was held at several Kaiser Permanente medical centers like this one in Panorama City. The LAPD was a co-sponsor of the event where residents could drop off their potentially dangerous prescription drugs, no questions asked.
And most people do have prescription drugs left over after a sickness, and they need a way to get rid of them. You don't want to drop them into the water supply.
Without events like this one, people sometimes flush their unused drugs down the toilet or throw them in the trash. That poses potential safety and health risks.
We had one woman talk about having 20 years of medications in her cells. I mean, finding that these people are getting the message that these are not safe medications, not safe products to have accessible. Sometimes they're accessible to children, sometimes they're accessible to grandchildren.
In the future, more drop-off centers, maybe even pharmacies may be set up to handle return of expired drugs. The last time these nationwide events were held at 4,100 drop-off sites, 390 tons of drugs were safely disposed of. An emotional day for the heroes of the Los Angeles Police Department as the Purple Heart and Medal of Valor awards were handed out. Yana Kay reports.
In 1973, retired LAPD officer Richard Birdsley was shot 3 times during what was supposed to have been a routine traffic stop. At the time, he had only one thought.
You think survival. You do whatever you can to survive.
Birdsley eventually recovered from his injuries and returned to work. For his bravery, LAPD Chief Charlie Beck honored him with a Purple Heart more than 4 decades later.
It feels good to actually know that they're thinking about us and, what had occurred back in years past.
Beardsley's story is just one of the incredible stories told during the Medal of Valor and Purple Heart Awards ceremony held in Hollywood.
Well, I hope it demonstrates not only to them, but to the rest of the city that we really truly care about our personnel. We really care about the sacrifices that our officers make.
26 police officers were recognized for going above and beyond their call of duty and showing extraordinary courage to serve and protect Los Angeles citizens. Another police officer received the Medal of Valor for his bravery after pulling a driver out of a burning car on the 405 freeway.
As soon as he hit that divider, it burst into flames. I mean, the fire was incredible. 15, 20-foot flames. On seeing that, I jumped out of my vehicle, ran to the vehicle, and I was fortunate enough to get the driver who was unconscious out of the car.
Councilmember Mitch Englander said he couldn't be more proud of these brave men and women.
These aren't just heroes, and all of our police and firefighters are heroes. These are superheroes. These are the men and women who really did truly risk it all. They ran towards danger. They ran towards bullets. They ran into fires.
14 officers received the Medal of Valor and 12 received Purple Hearts at this year's ceremony. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
The Los Angeles Police Foundation hosted the awards ceremony. Got an old couch or bed you want to throw to the curb? You might want to think again before dumping it outside. City leaders are now teaming up with one recycling company, calling on Angelenos to clean up their streets. Anna Marcos has more.
Advocates say the practice of illegal dumping is trashing the streets in the city of Angels, and it's reached epidemic proportions in South LA. Now, one private recycling company is doing something about it. The owner of Active Recycling at 2000 West Slauson has teamed up with Councilmember Bernard Parks and other city leaders to bring illegal dumping awareness to the public. Residents can drop off unwanted bulky items here all through the month of October for free.
Any individual citywide can bring in a truckload, a carload, a trailer load of trash and dump it for free. In many instances, over $100 cost.
I'm tired of driving down the streets and seeing all this illegal dumped items. I'll see a refrigerator, I'll see a couch, I'll see chairs, I'll see anything and everything in alleyways, on the street, on the parkway.
The message here is clear. Clean up your streets, LA.
Probably the number one issue that we hear from the community when it comes to quality of life issues.
You drive past all the eyesores on the street and everybody says, why doesn't the city do this, and why don't they pick up this, and why don't they clean it up? It's not a job, it's a job for us. And this is the one time that the people will get to do what they should.
And as a reminder, the City of LA Sanitation also has its own bulky item pickup program, and that one is free all year. All you have to do is dial 311 to get your items picked up and keep LA dump free. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
For more information about the active recycling program, call 323-295-7774. Seasons change. LA plays host to an international equestrian masters and finding ways to make Los Angeles and other big cities more livable and sustainable. These stories in City Beat. It may not feel like autumn, but the proof is in the stars. The Griffith Observatory, as it does every year, marked the start of fall in the Northern Hemisphere by observing 2 autumnal equinox presentations. The autumnal equinox is the moment when the sun crosses the celestial equator as it moves south for winter. The equinox is also when day and night are of equal length.
First of all, we are in the Gottlieb Transit Corridor, so we're going to see a transit. A transit is when an object moves from the eastern half of the sky into the western half. It crosses your meridian.
For the next 6 months, the sun is south of the equator and shines down more directly on the Earth's southern hemisphere. Autumn ends with the winter solstice on December 21st. The inaugural Longines, that's the watch brand, Los Angeles Masters Equestrian event, was held at the Los Angeles Convention Center, during which more than 30 international riders competed for $1 million over the 4-day event. Riders who took part in the elite show jumping competition included Jessica Springsteen, the daughter of Bruce Springsteen, as well as the daughter of former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg and the daughter of Bill Gates. Many competitors at the event have Olympic aspirations. The City Lab Conference recently came to the JW Marriott at LA Live and was attended by 30 mayors, including our own, urban experts, city planners, writers, technologists, economists, and designers. The event was hosted by The Atlantic, Bloomberg Philanthropies, and the Aspen Institute. Issues discussed ranged from stemming runaway productions to immigration to income inequality. The aim of City Lab is to start or continue conversations about ideas and solutions that are transforming metro centers around the world into more livable and sustainable cities. This was the second year of the summit. The inaugural gathering took place last year in New York City. The annual San Pedro Lobster Festival was once again the talk of the town. It's become a Los Angeles tradition since 1999. Michael McManus has more.
The festival featured activities for children and adults. And here's something you don't hear about every day. Children under 12 got in for free. The event is actually in the Guinness Book of World Records for consuming the most lobster in one day.
For me, it was the food, the lobster, because I've heard about the Lobster Fest for the last several years. Keep saying every year I'm going to go, and this year decided to come out.
The flavor is really scrumptious and very tasteful. It's like my mouth is in heaven right now. You got the juices and you got all the flavors just savoring in your mouth, and it just tastes really good.
The event was also sponsored by the San Pedro Fish Market and several private entities. 16 different musical acts provided the free entertainment. Michael McManus for LA This Week.
In this week's list of things to do, the Music Center Open House, A Taste of Italy, and Donna Summer exhibit. The Music Center is celebrating its 50th anniversary with a gift to the community. It's holding a free open house on Saturday, October 11th from 9 a.m. to noon. Guided tours of Walt Disney Concert Hall, Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, Amundsen Theater, and Mark Taper Forum are available. Tours depart every 15 minutes. Go to musiccenter.org to reserve your space. The Music Center is located at 135 North Grand Avenue, downtown. Also on Saturday, October 11th, is the Taste of Italy at the Pico House. The Taste of Italy is LA's premier food and wine event to benefit the Italian-American Museum that takes place at the El Pueblo Historical Monument, home to Olvera Street. You'll be able to enjoy delicious, authentic Italian cuisine, live music, and mingle with celebrity guest chefs. Pico House is located at 424 North Main Street, downtown. For ticket prices and other details, call 213-485-8432. And any Donna Summer fans in the house? This past summer, the Grammy Museum unveiled its latest temporary exhibit, Donna Summer, 4 Seasons of Love. This will be the first exhibition highlighting the career of the legendary Queen of Disco, with gowns and costumes designed by the singer herself, handwritten lyrics and notes, never-before-seen photographs, and much more. The Grammy Museum is located at 800 West Olympic Boulevard, downtown. The exhibit will be on display through spring 2015. For museum hours, ticket prices, and other info, go to GrammyMuseum.org. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. And in This Week in Tweets, we bring you some highlights from city leaders who took to social media in recent days. Councilmember Mitchell Englander posted this photo on Instagram showing him holding up a pink LAFD Goes Pink shirt. He wrote, "Proud to join United Firefighters of Los Angeles City to support Breast Cancer Awareness Month. LAFD Goes Pink." Councilmember Felipe Fuentes took to Twitter several times to celebrate the opening of the second phase of the bike path on San Fernando Road in Pacoima. He retweeted this photo of himself riding on the newly opened path, with several others following behind. And Councilman Joe Buscaino posted this YouTube video on Twitter to proclaim Wilmington Book Fair was awesome.
Baby llama stomps and pouts, baby llama jumps and shouts.
Eric Garcetti read Llama Llama Red Pajama and 10,000 books given away. A decades-old parade brings pomp and circumstance to Olympic Boulevard once again, with the goal of showcasing the city's best assets, its residents who hail from every corner of the world. The 41st Los Angeles Korean Parade marched down Olympic Boulevard in Koreatown on a recent Saturday. But it wasn't just about Korean culture. In fact, the name of the game was diversity. Young martial artists demonstrated their skills, while a New Orleans-style band entertained parade goers.
I love the people. I love the festival.
The Korean Festival is one of the most important events in the city of Los Angeles in terms of culture, art, raise the awareness of the importance of Koreatown.
The parade also featured dancers who brought a bit of Latin flavor to the celebration, as well as a procession of vintage police cruisers with Councilmember Tom LaBonge riding alongside.
41st annual parade down Olympic Boulevard, Koreatown. It's very exciting. All the historic police cars, fire department, marching band. It's a great time. I say, kamsahamnida Chingu. That's thank you, friend.
And a spirit of friendship is what this annual parade hopes to exude by inviting neighbors to learn more about Koreatown while opening its arms to embrace the cultures that make Los Angeles, Los Angeles. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
They seem innocent enough, fun, even frivolous. But releasing a Mylar balloon when you're done with it is asking for trouble. If one gets caught on a power line, it can arc, causing intense heat that can short transformers, cause an outage, spark a power surge that can destroy home electronics. So keep Mylar balloons close. The power you keep flowing could be your own.
911 emergency, operator 271.
The city of Los Angeles receives over 2 million 911 calls every year. Hello. I'm Mayor Eric Garcetti.
I'm Chief Charlie Beck. A significant number of 911 calls are not emergencies.
911 should be used for emergency calls, such as preservation of life, a crime in progress, prevention of a crime, or a public hazard.
If your call is not an emergency, such as a loud party, verbal dispute, public nuisance, or lost or missing property, you can dial 1-877-ASK-LAPD to have the police respond.
Remember, call 1-877-ASK-LAPD for non-emergency calls.
Los Angeles Police Department, what are you reporting?
Graffiti removal? Call 311, the toll-free number for non-emergency services. 311, your one call to City Hall.
Good morning, everyone. It is October 8th, Wednesday, October 8th. I want to welcome you to your Los Angeles City Council meeting. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. All are welcome. Mr. Clerk, I do believe we have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonner, Buscaino, Cedillo, Leonard Fuentes, Huizar, Correzca, Correa, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson, 12 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Fuente moves, Blumenfield seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Martinez moves, O'Farrell seconds. Next.
Mr. President, before getting into today's agenda, there is a request to continue items 5 and 17 to next Tuesday. That would be October 14. Again, 5 and 17 to October 14th.
Okay, without objection, that'll be the order. That brings us where?
Items 1 through 3 are items noticed for public hearing.
Cards? Do we have cards, public?
Mr. President, we've yet to receive any cards.
Okay, then let's vote on those items. Members?
Mr. President.
Yes.
May we continue item 1B for an additional 2 weeks, please?
No problem.
Thank you.
Without objection. Okay, let's prepare to vote.
And Mr. President, I'm sorry, was that one additional week or two?
Two.
Two, very good, sir. And that's October 22nd.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, that brings us where?
Forthwith on number 2, and for the transmission for DWP.
Do you have that, Mr. Clerk? Forthwith?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Labange.
Very good, sir.
Okay, that brings us where?
Mr. President, that brings us to items 4 through 6. They're items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay, specials, members, 4 through 6. I do not see any. Let's prepare to vote on those items as well. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Thank you. Forthwith. Forthwith on 4.
On 4, sir. Very
okay,
good.
Now, where are we?
Mr. President, that brings us to items 7 through 13. They're items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Cards. Do we have cards?
Yes, sir. We have cards on items 7, 8, 12, and 13.
So that leaves us with?
9, 10, and 11, sir.
Okay, members on 9, 10, or 11, any? I do not see any members. Let's prepare to vote on those items. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Thank you. That brings us where, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, that brings us to items 14 through 17. They're items scheduled for closed session. Would you like to hold them on the desk?
At this time, yeah, I think that's what I would like to do.
Very good, sir. That brings council to presentations or items called special.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Labange, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Some of you know this man, but he's one of the great ones of all time, Robert Fitzpatrick, the former art director for the Festival of Arts for the 1984 Games. Welcome back, Robert. Robert, throughout his time, has a little place in New York. He's big on the art scene, but a very little place. I don't know, I've never seen it, but a nice place, I'm sure, in Paris, because he's working to transform Los Angeles in the art world, Felipe, where they're going to bring a great show from France. Please, for the council.
Thank
Good
you
morning
very much.
And welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to thank you for the invitation. I'm working with my colleague Aurelia Chabriat, the director of FIAC LA. We're going to do a major international arts fair March 26th to the 29th here in Los Angeles. It'll be at the Convention Center downtown, and we're going to have 35 to 50,000 guests and people from all over the world, galleries, and so on. We would really like your support as we make this a major international event to take place every year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And he's working with Mr. Price, which is so good, Mr. O'Farrell, and all of you want to get an art. In San Pedro, they love art. and they love the French. But the Italians are first. He's Italian. Okay.
Mr. Labange, before you leave, Mr. Price, you wanted to say a word?
Yeah, just want to welcome Mr. Fitzpatrick and guests. Certainly no stranger. Bob's no stranger to our city. And this is going to be an exciting venture that celebrates not only the arts, but as Bob and I had a chance to talk this morning, it stimulates economic development. I mean, people are going to be eating. They're going to be doing all kind of stuff in Los Angeles. And so we just want to encourage the event March 26th through 29th at the Convention Center. And it's going to be an event that we hope will happen every year in Los Angeles, putting LA on the international art map as other venues around the world. And so we're happy that you're here and happy that you're going to be here in March.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you. And Mr. Price, thank you. Mr. President, thank you. Mr. O'Farrell, thank you for Paris Photo, which is the cousin of FIAC, and they're at Paramount Pictures. So all of it is very good. And we thank you, especially with Bordeaux. There's our Bordeaux official sister city map. Au revoir. Merci.
Thank you, the multilingual Tom Labange. Okay, Mr. Clerk, why don't we take up a couple of items? In fact, let's start with item 7. Mr. Walsh, are you here? Mr. John Walsh on item 7. He is, did he yell at it? Well, I don't see him. So let's prepare to vote on this item. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, let's go on to our next item. Mr. Walsh, we're on item 12. I do not see Mr. Walsh. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Someone may want to check on Mr. Walsh. I don't see him, but I have his card. Okay, now we'll go to item 13, called special by Mr. Walsh. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Thank you. No, there's no disruption. No, well, if I had already started the issue, I did not have. We'd already started the vote. I did not have your card. Can I get the next? I have item 11, and that's appears to be you, Mr. Herman. No, we have voted on 11. Mr. Krikorian, are you ready with your presentation?
Whenever you're ready, Mr. President.
Yes.
Okay, so what number are we on? I'm confused. Sit down, please. Okay, you want to join us?
Good morning, members. Members, although it's difficult to remember those days now, back in the early 1980s, we had a president who refused to use the word AIDS as our country was startled by the rapid spreading of this disease, which would soon become a global pandemic. Government was failing to act to respond. In 1981, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control first published a report describing a rare lung infection in 5 previously healthy young gay men in Los Angeles. And it was from that first publication that the discussion about AIDS began. And while government largely sat on its hands and ignored the issue as it spread throughout our country and as people suffered grievous losses in communities throughout our country, there was one young man who was watching as this situation unfolded, who was personally impacted by seeing friends around him who became impacted by this. And this young man decided that he needed to act, that it was no longer time to sit, it was time to act. And so he brought his political and organizing skills to bear in a way that no one to that point had ever done. And it was at that moment when Craig Miller, who's with us today, decided that there needed to be a mass participatory event to raise funds and awareness to begin the battle against AIDS. And it was that decision made by this man, Craig Miller, right here in Los Angeles, that led to the very first AIDS Walk Los Angeles. On July 28, 1985, at a time before our president had ever even uttered the word AIDS, Craig Miller led 4,500 people, including Mr. Koretz and then Mayor Tom Bradley, and many other courageous leaders and everyday folks here in Los Angeles in that first AIDS Walk, which raised a then stunning sum of $673,000. Since that first AIDS Walk in the world, many other cities have imitated what we started then here in Los Angeles, and AIDS Walk New York soon began, AIDS Walk San Francisco began, and then AIDS Walks began to spread around the world. Craig Miller, who's standing with us today, has produced every single AIDS Walk Los Angeles, every single AIDS Walk New York, and every single AIDS Walk San Francisco. Craig and his talented team at MZA Events have produced hundreds of public service campaigns and fundraising events, and through those collective efforts, Craig has generated more than $375 million for major AIDS organizations throughout the country, and in so doing has made a dramatic positive impact on the quality of life of countless people throughout our country and indeed around the world. But he didn't stop there. Once that tremendously successful movement was rolling and continuing to spread awareness and raise immense amounts of money, Craig decided that he needed to help prepare the next generation of AIDS activists. And so he founded the AIDS Community Action Foundation to inspire younger people and to continue to lead the fight for equality and dignity for people living with AIDS in a variety of other contexts, including equal treatment by the Social Security Administration. So it's a tremendous pleasure and an honor to be able to recognize today Craig Miller, the founder of AIDS Walk Los Angeles, and also to recognize, which we will be on Sunday, a week from Sunday. This Sunday, sorry. So this Sunday, Los Angeles will again be hosting AIDS Walk Los Angeles for the 30th time. The 30th annual AIDS Walk takes place this Sunday, and so it's important that we mark that great annual tradition, but also that we recognize the extraordinary leadership of the man who made it all happen, a young man who had an idea, and through force of will, through leadership, through individual effort, that idea became a global movement. So it's a great pleasure to recognize with you Craig Miller, the founder of the AIDS Walk Los Angeles. And one of those, as I mentioned, one of those who was actually there, one of those courageous leaders who at a time when it wasn't popular stood up and said, I'm going to join in this effort, was our colleague, Paul Koretz. Mr. Koretz.
Well, thank you, Mr. Krikorian and colleagues. I actually was one of those people who can say I knew Craig Miller before he did all this, because I remember him when he was a great staffer for Congressman Tony Bielenson, the late Congressman Bielenson, who was one of our terrific representatives on the West Side and later in the Valley as well. This time's almost exactly to the time when the city of West Hollywood was having its incorporation campaign and just starting out. And while in almost every way that was a great experience, West Hollywood was also, in a way, the epicenter of the AIDS crisis. Through much of its history, over 10% of the housing units in West Hollywood had someone with either HIV or AIDS in them, or multiple individuals. So this is a city very hard hit. And unfortunately, I personally knew literally hundreds of people that died of AIDS in the early days of West Hollywood cityhood. And there was, in addition to just a feeling of great sorrow with the devastation of this disease, there was a feeling of helplessness. What could we do? And the city of Los Angeles and the city of West Hollywood were among only a handful of cities and any government entity that made any attempt to do anything. And both of our cities, which I've had the honor to represent both of them, did a lot of active things, helping to start up nonprofits and helping to participate in programs like this one. But particularly, that feeling of helplessness was really addressed by AIDS Walk, because not only could we help raise money and help provide all kinds of services and steps to deal with the disease and help people to deal with what they were facing and a better quality of life, we were also able to participate in it and be empowered and be doing something positive to strike back at this disease. And who knew? It was a brilliant idea then. Who knew that this would be as brilliant an idea as it's been for a period of 30 years, raising hundreds of millions of dollars and helping thousands and thousands and thousands of people across the country and across the world. I knew Craig was a great guy. I never knew he would have this kind of an impact, but he has, and it's my honor to join Mr. Krikorian in recognizing him here today. So thank you, Craig, for all your incredible work over all these years.
Craig, before you speak, I have two other colleagues that would like to say, I'm sure, kind things about you, so why don't you listen? We have Mr. Blumenfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Stand here. Hello. Thank you, Mr. President. It's still not on. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Mr. President. Craig, it is great to see you here today. I just wanted to join my colleagues in celebrating you, celebrating the AIDS Walk. I haven't known you as long as Mr. Koretz, only since the early 90s when I was working for Howard Berman back then, and I first got to know you. So it's been many years, and I've looked up to you, your leadership, the way that you've been able to move this issue forward, that at a time when people didn't even know what AIDS really was, and let alone how to go about trying to bring resources, you stepped in. For these many years, you've not only been someone who I respect and admire, and you've come to be a friend, and I've really enjoyed our friendship, working together on these issues, and I just wish the AIDS Walk many years of good fortune in the future. AIDS is not the epidemic that it once was. It is still a major problem, and you're still on the front lines fighting it, and we're all fighting it, but you have a much bigger team behind you, not only literally the team you have there, but in the larger sense of the team that you've helped build around this issue. So thank you for the 30 years. Thank you for AIDS Walk Los Angeles, and for your friendship, your support, and all that you do and all that AIDS Walk does. Thank you.
Mr. Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Craig, I want to thank you for your 30 years of service. Mr. Krikorian, I want to thank you for and Mr. Koretz for this presentation, but particularly Mr. Krikorian for the way you introduced Craig and the history that you provided, hearkening to the dark days of the early 80s. There was a time when everybody failed. It wasn't just the president who refused to say the word AIDS. Local public health agencies failed. The federal government failed. The leadership of the LGBT community failed, and the medical establishment failed. People were governed by both fear and discrimination, but also self-hatred and sort of a paralyzing inability to act. And there were way too few people who stood up and said, attention must be paid, and action must be taken, and the death must stop. Way too few people. And it's important for us to acknowledge those who took those bold steps, and like Craig, were heroic back in those days, like Mr. Koretz, who were heroic back in those days. Because of the steps that you took, things changed. Because of the steps that you took, attention was paid. And because of the steps, and I mean literally the steps that you took in the walk, things changed, and people are alive today because of that. Colleagues, if you ever want to read a damning indictment and a wonderful history, read Randy Schultz and The Band Played On. It talks about how the LGBT leadership, the public health leadership, the medical community, and the government all failed, and how too few voices came out of the wilderness. And Craig, thank you for being one of those voices. Thank you.
We're not done. Mr. Labange.
I just wanted to thank Mr. Krikorian, Mr. Koretz, but Craig Miller, the wings of an angel. And you go back 30 years, and I know we reminisce a little. Many other people, Eunice Chester, I just want to mention her name, the great government relations person for Paramount, opened the lot, which is where the first AIDS walk was, and it was just built and built and built on. And then unfortunately, the tragedy of 9/11, they had to move off the lot because of security. But then it fell into the arms of a great little town west of Los Angeles, and the cooperation between our cities, because half the walk is in LA, half in West Hollywood, and the Department of Transportation and the engineers, all this elaborate construction of a concert, of a symphony, of people walking and carrying, and the volunteers, and all the people in the high schools, and all that you've done, Craig, was really special. So I wanted to rise. And also I mentioned the name of Mike Carey. Mike Carey was a great guy, a great city planner. He has an office on the 5th floor. He was one of the first victims of AIDS. He was one of the best-looking guys in this building, and always so good to you when you had a problem. And like a storm, so many people were lost. But now, because of the fight and the efforts of all of them involved, and this walk and bringing awareness, we can beat the fight that's there and win in the battle against AIDS, HIV. So I just want to personally thank you and remember. And also John Ferraro, because it was his district that he sent his young deputy out to direct traffic on a few intersections as well. Congratulations, Craig. Thank you.
Craig, the floor is yours. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you, Council President Wesson, and thank you, Council Members Krikorian and Koretz and Blumenfield and Bonin and Labange, and just for the great amount of support that AIDS Walk Los Angeles, AIDS Project Los Angeles, and I have received from this building over many, many years. Most importantly, I want to acknowledge the greatness and the continuing importance and relevance of AIDS Project Los Angeles and the men and women who devote their working lives to that organization, and the tremendous cadre of APLA volunteers who do deserve a round of applause from all of us. As I said, I have a great affinity for this building. In a way, I'm a child of this building. My father, Jerome F. Miller, served Mayor Tom Bradley for many years here. Mayor Tom Bradley was one of the first elected leaders in this country who had the courage to step forward and stand with us on this issue. We have received tremendous support from council members of this important body for many, many years, and I am grateful, and AIDS Project Los Angeles is grateful. I want to recognize quickly two other entities. First, the Moms of Los Angeles, who collectively have been really a largely unspoken strength behind AIDS Walk Los Angeles and the fight against AIDS. And with just a little bias, I want to introduce my own mom, who's participated in all 30 of them, Marcia Miller. I also want to acknowledge some of the corporations of Los Angeles, in particular Paramount Pictures Corporation, at a time when so many corporations were closing their doors and closing their minds to this issue. Paramount Pictures opened its gates for us, invited us in, and have remained a great strength behind this event. In closing, I just want to say it's important that we remember the lessons that this epidemic has taught us. It's important that we remember that the public health sector has to be allowed a voice, has to be able to lead, has to have the resources and the ability to communicate with people on the sides of transit systems and in all other useful ways that will reach people and keep the importance of this message in the forefront. I'm grateful that the City of Los Angeles has always seen fit to run AIDS Walk Los Angeles ads on LA DOT buses, as it is currently doing. And I'm very excited by the leadership that Council Members Krikorian, Koretz, Blumenfield, and others are showing in implementing and embracing a policy that says the voice of the nonprofit sector, the voice of the public health sector has to be heard and has to be given even footing with commercial interests. I thank you all so much for your decades of support. Invite you all to be with AIDS Project Los Angeles and AIDS Walk Los Angeles this Sunday. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, and thank you, Mr. Krikorian and Mr. Koretz. It's, Mr. Clerk, my understanding we need to vote on reconsideration for item 2.
Yes, sir.
So let's vote on the reconsideration first. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
And I do have a card from Naomi Baez. If you would please come forward. Did you want to speak, Mr. Fuentes? Just wait 1 minute, Ms. Baez.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Baez?
Thank you. I would like to address you guys because we live in parcels 4, 5, and 6 located in Kern County, and my aunt, she's not willing to sell to the Department of Water and Power. So the reason that I'm here is because we received a letter stating that Department of Water and Power want to offer her $11,000 for her parcel, and she wants a little bit more regarding her parcel because she bought it 7 years ago. We live in the property right now, and we feel like that it was a little bit a last-minute notice from the Department of Los Angeles to address the issue that I'm here today. We're not willing to sell for $11,000. We want at least $35,000 for the property. We bought it 7 years ago for $25,000 with interest. So I'm pleading with you guys to see if we can come to an agreement regarding the property located in 4, 5, and 6 on the map. I don't know if you guys have a map of the property located.
I'm sorry, could you repeat what you just said?
We're located on 4, 5, and 6. My aunt, she's the property owner of the property that you guys are trying to purchase to make a project. We're not really, we're concerned about the project because we live in the property. We bought it 7 years ago. $25,000. You guys are asking for $11,000, and my aunt wants to come to an agreement with you guys to see if we can benefit from selling our parcel to the City of Los Angeles, and that way we can all live peacefully and come to an agreement regarding this matter.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Fuentes.
President Wesson, and thank you for the testimony. Colleagues, what this item does is it begins the eminent domain proceedings on 44 parcels of real property in the Mojave near the Barren Ridge switching station. And my colleagues who have been in committee recognize what a tremendous asset this will be to the city of Los Angeles, but it's also of real necessity, which is why we've begun the eminent domain proceedings. And as many of you know, there will be negotiations. It is eminent domain, but fair market value, that sort of assessment will be done by the city attorney's office and the Department of Water and Power. So I respectfully ask for a continued aye vote.
So, Ms. Baez, there will be conversations with you and the Department of DWP where it relates on the actual price. So this begins the process. Also, there will be some negotiation. So with that said, members, let us vote on the item authorizing this. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
And if, Mr. Fuentes, if you could have a staff person chat with them and let them know exactly what is the next step. Forthwith. Item 8. We're now going to take up item 8. I have a card from Mr. Akala. Item 8, sir.
Item 8, communication from the Bureau of Street Lighting and Ordinance of Intention First Consideration relative to the establishing a hearing date for the maintenance of the Inglewood Boulevard and Victoria Avenue Street Lighting District. Recommendations for council action subject to the approval of the mayor. 1. Adopted report of the Director Bureau of Street Lighting dated September 25th, 2000. How much is this going to cost? I want to know. I am your public. I have the right to know how much the city is spending on this. Can you tell us? No, it's not a dialogue, it's a monologue. Okay. 2, present and adopt the accompanying ordinance of intention settling the date. Oh, by the way, give those people the right amount of money if you want eminent domain.
Stay on the subject.
Oh, yes, stay on the subject. Setting the date of the December 10th, 2014 as the hearing date for the maintenance of the Inglewood Boulevard and Victoria Avenue Street Lighting District in accordance with Proposition 218, Articles X1M of the California Constitution and Government Code, 53 physical impact statement. If adopted, 118 will be collected annually from the poor suckers that have to pay it. You're going to get more money from the people. Give it a break.
Thank you. Okay, members, let's prepare to vote on this item. I don't have any more cards. Let's check. Does anyone have any cards on 8? Item 8? Well, let me do this. Let me get Mr. Walsh. And you said, Mr. Herman, you have one as well? Okay. So what I want to find the cards. You may have to fill out another one for me. On item 8, Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at HollywoodDems. And incidentally, how much is this going to cost? How much are you going to get out of this? $183.79 annually It's right here in the agenda item. You're not hiding it. You actually, when street lighting goes on, the number of street crimes plunges. I ask everybody out there who's a minority, how much street lighting do you have in your neighborhood? I ask the white people west of La Brea. I mean, it's like Dodger Stadium there all night. There's lights. That's one reason their crime rate is lower. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with electricity. Now, fortunately, this one is on in Inglewood Boulevard, so this is a rare instance where minorities will be served by this, what is happening here. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Mr. Herman?
Now, we all know that this street lighting ordinance in Inglewood, the hearing for the maintenance, as you overheard Mr. John Walsh, HollywoodHighland.org, has pronounced and objects to, is that the lighting reports indicate the amount, $183.79.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
But usually in most minority areas, lighting is very poor in Los Angeles. As you see, as a result, I wear my caution tape, not to mention Mr. Koretz, but I'm going to stick to subject topic here. So, how can we present and adopt this ordinance with intention of setting a date for December 10th, when yet the transparency of the public to understand the Bureau of Street Lighting reports that it has adopted this amount and collected it annually? Do we know what the tax year from 2014 and 2015 were? No. So that will go into a dedicated street lighting maintenance assessment. And for what purpose? The same purpose we've gutted out state and local federal dollars in improving and enhancing our street corridors. Let's not be out of compliance, and let's not regulate areas based on minorities, those who live in
Let's stay on the item. It has nothing to do with minorities. Stay on the item,
Well, it has
Mr.
to do with
Herman.
lighting, sir.
Mr.
And with the
Herman,
most
please.
appropriate lighting, we can dedicate monies and maintenance on a regular basis so that people can have jobs to produce more lighting and support the lighting issue that we today suffer. If we don't do anything to provide infrastructure for vaults, how could that capacity hold all the electricity and give us better lighting? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now let's prepare to vote on this. Let us open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, let's go into the special meeting for right now.
Very good, sir. We'll recess the regular and go into the special. Blumenfield, Bonabusca, NOCD, England, Fuentes, Huizar, Koretz, Kokorian, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson, 15 members present and a quorum, Mr. President. Item 18 is an item for which a public hearing has been held.
Okay, so let me defer to Mr. Blumenfield at this time. The floor is yours, sir.
Oh, great. Thank you, Mr. President. So internet-based businesses are an important part of our Los Angeles economy. In December, their tax rate is scheduled to increase 5 times over. This ordinance will extend the lower tax rate through the 2018 tax season. The Council should continue to support these businesses to help ensure that this highly mobile industry continues to stay and thrive in the city of Los Angeles, and that we keep these good jobs right here in Los Angeles. There are a handful of industry representatives that may speak about the ordinance. Want to make this motion to reopen the public comment to give them an opportunity to speak. The folks who are here to speak in favor of it, and I urge my colleagues to support this. And part of it, this ordinance is also we're going to do a study to really look at the effectiveness of this tax, what the costs and benefits are, and do it in such a way that we get really good data before us, but in the interim, extend this for a 3-year period so that the internet businesses have a chance to plan and properly plan, and that they'll stay here right in Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to rise on this for a couple reasons. First, I wanted to thank and commend Mr. Blumenfield for his leadership on this issue, for sparking this discussion, and for shepherding this through. This is a big deal in the city of Los Angeles. It's a particularly big deal in my district, which includes so much of Silicon Beach. And I was fortunate to work with Councilman Rosendahl and then Councilman Garcetti when this was originally passed, and I'm thanking Mr. Blumenfield for salvaging it. When this was passed, this saved jobs in Los Angeles. We almost lost hundreds of jobs from Shopzilla, which could have easily moved across the border to Santa Monica. And we saved those jobs, and we kept them in Los Angeles. The anchor tenant in a building that has a restaurant and a gym and that has helped give life to a neighborhood in West LA. Since this has been in effect in 2009, Silicon Beach has emerged here in Los Angeles. This has helped grow the tech center and been one of the underpinnings of our innovation economy. And the other reason I rise is I think it's worth pointing out that this is one of the many actions that this city council does that contradicts the meme and the knee-jerk narrative we've heard over the past few weeks about this council not being business-friendly. This is one of the most business-friendly city councils that we have had in recent memory in the city of Los Angeles. When we talked about raising wages earlier this week, the LA Times reported this council doesn't support business. Over the past few years, this council has given incentives to new businesses in Los Angeles, to auto dealerships in Los Angeles, to internet-based businesses in Los Angeles. Members of this council literally fall all over each other to promote the small businesses in their district, whether it's Mr. Buscaino and his lunch mobs in San Pedro, or Ms. Martinez promoting the businesses in her district. And this council, as we know, is also going to be moving forward later this year with legislation that helps improve the business climate here in Los Angeles. So it's very important to underscore with this action and with others that this council is very friendly to business in Los Angeles. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I had a conversation with Mr. Blumenfield. With the public hearing on this issue was satisfied in a committee, so it will not be reopened. Mr. Labange.
Just a friendly amendment. Could you have engineer and whoever map this? Because I think it's very exciting, these new startups throughout, whether what parts of the San Fernando Valley and various places, Silicon Beach. Do I need sunscreen when I go there, Mike? Okay, always. So I think all this is very important, and I see the work that Mr. O'Farrell's doing in Elysian Valley and the transformation of some old industrial places and some of this new high-tech. At a recent trip to Berlin, our sister city, this is all they're working on. This is all they're working on because they see that as the future, trying to track people from all over Europe there. We track people all over Los Angeles there. It's very special. So thank you, Mr. Blumenfield, for your leadership. And Mr. Bonin, thank you for always remembering Bill Rosendahl, who, like myself, was cleanly in the situation of being in the old school and not being as techy as you guys are. But this is the wave of the future, and it got done so fast. This is the map that Miss Martinez presented to me. She got it done right now. That's Miss Martinez. Thank you. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Can we adjourn this special meeting and return?
Before you adjourn, I think there's a request to send it forthwith.
Then forthwith it is. So let's adjourn, Mr. Clerk, this meeting and return to the regular meeting.
Very good, sir.
Okay, so it's my understanding from Mr. Krikorian we can deal with item 16 in open session.
Yes, Mr. President. Item 16 is a payment of a judgment, and we can go ahead unless there's questions on that. It is a judgment, so the Budget and Finance Committee recommends payment of the judgment, and we can do that in open session.
Okay. Mr. Clerk.
Very good, sir. For item 16, in the case entitled Leonard Avila versus Los Angeles Police Department, there is a recommendation to expend $787,560 in payment of judgment.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let us open the roll.
Mr. President,
It was
Mr.
already-
Mr. Walsh and Mr. Herman are disrupting this meeting in the middle of a vote by shouting out from the audience about matters that have already been heard in committee.
That has already, public comment has already been satisfied. You need to stop doing that, or we will ask you to leave the chambers. Okay,
and I'd like the city attorney to note this council was in the middle of casting a vote when Mr. Walsh and Mr. Herman were shouting out from the audience. It's unacceptable to have this meeting disrupted.
And it is without a doubt, Mr. City Attorney, a disruption. So we should make note of that. Now,
Was the vote completed, Mr. President?
No.
I lost track because
no,
of the
so
disruption.
did I. So did I. It disrupted the president as well, Mr. Krikorian. Let us vote on this item. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, Mr.
Forthwith
on that item.
And number 17 should be continued. We already have that. Numbers 14 and 15 we should consider in closed session.
Okay, so clear the chambers. We're going to deal with items 14 and 15 at this point. Please clear the council chambers.
All right, Mr. Clerk. Please recite for the council.
Very good, sir. For item 14, in the case entitled Matthew Dowd et al. Versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend $10 in settlement and payment of plaintiff's judgment and $600,000 in settlement of attorney's fees and costs.
Mr. City Attorney? Okay. We're going to open the roll on that, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Very good. Mr. City Attorney.
And for the record, the vote in closed session was 11-0 with council members Buscaino, Fuentes, Koretz, and Martinez absent.
Thank you. Next item.
Mr. President, in the case entitled Naranjibi Patel et al. Versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend $127,000 in settlement of attorney's fees and costs.
Okay. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
And for the record, in closed session on that one, the vote was 11-0 with council members Buscaino, Fuentes, Koretz, and Martinez absent.
Thank you very much. Next item.
Mr. President, that brings council to items for general public comment.
Thank you. We have 1 minute public comment. Calling on Brian Barajas.
All right, look, if BRICS, these couples the dollar, you basically are dead. If Obama is in power, you're basically all dead. So when are we going to grow up? When does reality start hitting you? Or maybe when you see people dying on the streets. Maybe the water crisis, when people start to starve to death because food prices are going to be hiked up. What about the public? When are they going to take action? So the problem here is, when are every single person begin to realize we have a chance to join BRICS, to get away from the British Empire, to get away from all the crap that has been taking place thus far?
John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. What just happened is they went back there for 2 hours, and they gave the whistleblowers, Matt Dowd and Zumadok, a $10 settlement, but they gave their lawyers $600,000 of your money. That's how serious this was. That's the settlement that's being offered. Vote no on every single proposition. Go to Waterhog Tom LaBonge and see that LaBonge has wasted 16,000, according to KCBS, 16,000 gallons of water. We're talking now about HollywoodHighlands.org. Vote no on every single proposition. Vote for Sheila Kuehl. Go to our website, and you will see some astonishing developments. $600,000. Remember, the money they're getting is because they were thrown out of this meeting. $600,000 of your money in attorney's fees to the whistleblowers, Hollywood Highlands.
Jose Martinez. Jose Martinez. Mr. Clerk, file the card. Olga Hall.
Hello. You call this a democracy, but all it is you sitting at your chair looking down on us. You don't have no respect for the people, making us wait all this time when you could have done this afterwards. This is all a theater to impress the public that you are doing something, but you're doing nothing because you are controlled. That's what you are, puppets. and you will go down with everybody else. If you think you are special, you are not special. You're just like us, and you have been used to punish us, because that's what you did just now. Punish us waiting out there when you should be respecting us, because we are the ones that give you the vote and put you where you're at. Shame on you.
Juan Alcala.
What the hell is this?
Hey, Mr. City Attorney, could you address this? Speak to the council, please.
Yes, I'm talking about the Beverly Hillbillies. The hillbilly man was shooting at some food, and out of the ground came a bubbling crude, and everybody lived richly ever after, especially if they gave themselves the salaries that City Hall gives themselves. Right, Blumenfield? Eat away, baby. You got enough money to eat with. Well, there's a bunch of assholes on the street with nothing to eat. There's a bunch of assholes on the street with no place to sleep. There's a bunch of assholes everywhere, but the biggest assholes are City Hall, because they're the ones causing all of this. Go to hell, City Hall. Go visit the Beverly Hillbillies.
Mr. City Attorney, the words that he used were offensive to some. I want you to note that. Thank you very much. Henry Marine.
Yes, government documents and government codes shows that John Ferrero and his colleagues did not authorize anybody to earn more than 1 year of service credit under temporary agreements. Government documents show how much money was sheltered from the pay of Hackland coal employees longer than the law allows. Government documents show how much was diverted from public employee pension and benefit plans longer than the law allows. And MOU 3062 shows that only the members of this council ever authorized management to take money from public employees. We had no limitations. So that means you didn't know what the shit you were doing at all, and the people that you paid don't know what the shit they're doing either.
Excuse me, Sergeant, would you just check? He has a city employee's badge on right there, and that name, that number, I found the words he uses offensive. Thank you. Next speaker. Next speaker, Mr. Herman.
And just for the record, the speaker did have a right to say those in public comment.
In a city uniform, with a city ID on, representing the city of Los Angeles. Please check into that, Mr. City Attorney. Thank you so much. Mr. Herman, please.
This claim for damages is a result of Mr. Paul Corrett's action of assault on live television yesterday when he assaulted me during public comment. For I don't find any abuse or offense or disruption made during general public comment causing significant physical damage to my arm, Mr. Corretz, is not abuse? Yes. You cannot censor us under general public comment. Mr. Krikorian, you were the witness as a result, and this will result when I take all of you to trial for the claim and damages for assaulting me during general public comment. I am going to the doctor today for this increasing injury that was caused yesterday during general public comment. So don't say we're offensive or disruptive during general public, because the wording will come out as a result under the federal ruling. Eat it.
No other cards before us, members. Mr. Clerk. Mr. Krikorian.
Mr. President, I'm sorry to do this because I usually don't respond to general public comment, but since the speaker made reference to me as being a witness to something, I feel like I need to say that nothing that he said is remotely true. and I did not witness any such thing. So I feel it's important to state that for the record.
For the record, thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, what is next?
Mr. President, Council has motions for posting and referral.
So ordered. Any announcements, members? Any announcements?
The desk is clear.
Any adjourning motions, members? Any adjourning motions? Seeing no adjourning motions, continue to serve the city well. Mr. Weezer, I apologize. Hold on.
Yes, sorry, Mr. President. I do have an adjourning motion. And
all right, please, for your
just,
attention, members. All rise. Mr. Clerk. Mr. Krikorian.
Mr. President, I just wanted to point out again that there are members of the public who are delaying Mr. Weezar's ability to adjourn the meeting in memory of an important Angelino, Mr. Alcalas shouting as he was leaving the room, and Mr. Marine arguing with the sergeant. If we could please have order, and he's continuing to do it now. If we could please have order so that Mr. Weezar can give his adjournment motion.
Please handle it, Sergeant. Thank you so much, Mr. Krikorian. Mr. Weezer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Krikorian. And, without due respect that we give to people who have passed and this great body honors them, it is imperative that not only through a regular session, but especially at this time, that the public is in order. Thank you for pointing that out, Mr. Krikorian. And colleagues, today I adjourn in memory of a beloved Boyle Heights resident named Jose Noriega. He was born on December 31st, 1912 in Buckeye, Arizona, and was 101 years young at the time of his passing. Mr. Noriega moved to his present Opal Street home in Boyle Heights in 1956. He worked as a diesel mechanic to support his 4 children. He was married to his wife, Guadalupe, for some 67 years. He continued to be active in senior citizen activities and was without a doubt the best senior usher at the 7:30 a.m. Mass, which he attended every week at Resurrection Church. He was a well-known figure and was noted for his early morning walk with his friends. He was crossing the street last Wednesday morning when a car hit him. The man never stopped but was apprehended by the neighbors. Jose will be greatly missed by his family, friends, and fellow church members. May he rest in peace, and whole community is mourning because of his passing.
Every day is a blessing. And he lived to be 100 years old, is that correct?
101.
101, very special Angelino. God bless his soul. Let's move forward and serve the day. Serve the day well. Thank you for all the assistance from staff. This meeting is adjourned.